Hey everyone, how's it going? Kyle here. So, like how last month the flavor was mainly tempo zero or tempo sabo. This month I'm definitely all about the Attack on Titan deck. It's been super amounts of fun. I haven't made any changes yet. It's doing very well as is. And the season just started, so we're going to be playing this match in gold. But I mean, the deck got into gold in 6 games, I believe. I believe it was 6 games. It was pretty quick, pretty fast. A lot of fun. I really like the beginning of the season because even though even though you're even though everybody is kicked down to like rank 11 from Diamond and S rank, so if you play right at the beginning, you're going against the same people you were playing at the end of the season. It's just like this mental thing where you're like, oh, I'm just in silver right now. Oh, I'm just in gold right now. I don't have to. No stress. And even though I try not to get stressed on a ladder, it just like it makes this mental thing where I just feel like less anxious about the games. Let's go ahead and get into this. So I wanted to make Lionar I want to do this video about me going up against Lionar because one, I ran into like 5 Lionars in a row once I got into gold. And I think I actually get into gold. I played a few Lionars as well. So the deck's currently on a 5-win streak, and I believe 4 of those in a row were Lionar. A lot of people in the Turn 1 Mystic Discord chat have been talking about how Lionar is very frustrating for them at all levels because of Arclight Regalia, Holy Immolation, Ironcliff Guardian, Silverguard Knight, etc., etc. Just those minions that have really good stat distribution for their mana cost and or have such swingy effects, like Holy Immolation, basically being able to fully heal something and then kill everything around it, stuff like that. So, and I've been telling them that this deck's matchup against Lionar is pretty good. We usually have some pretty big things on the board in order to break through Regalia is pretty fine. We have, and then we can put Shadow Creep to do the last chip of damage and stuff like that. We have basically the problem people have with Lionar is going toe to toe with them. And since this is a Swarm deck, the Swarm decks do pretty good. I've heard from Lionar players against Lionar. This deck aims to just man fight the Lionar deck by just playing other big things to fight their big things, and it goes pretty well. And so far, my matchup against Lionar has been great. I feel like I've said that 3 times. But how about the opening hand real fast? This is a bit unfortunate because we got both of our Night Sorrow Assassins, and this card is great. Against Lionar, it's not the best because you really are only able to hit the Azurite Lion. Sometimes you can hit slow with it, but slow can be dealt with in other ways. And Azurite Lion, other than like a turn 1, isn't really that great. So the only time we want to hold on to Night Sorrow Assassin against Lionar is if we already have a 1-drop and we're going second. So that way we can move forward and like play the Crawler and then play the Night Sorrow Assassin below it and then hit the Lion. Unless it was played somewhere more defensive, but they usually don't predict that. So unless we have some type of 1-mana minion to play, we don't keep Night Sorrow against Lionar because by the second turn we can just deal with it. I'm going to go ahead and click play here. I'm going to try not to pause this one as much because my girlfriend is at the store and I'm trying to record this while she is shopping. So we're going to just try to go through this. So this opening hand is pretty good. Like I said, getting creep distribution for this deck is very necessary anyways because of Obliterate and the Ghost Azalea, as well as our Juggernauts. So I love seeing oozes in hand. Now here is the Lion, but since we didn't have the turn 1 or the 1-mana turn 1 play, that we're just gonna go for the double ooze. I played the ooze like I did here, so that way if the Lion wants to go grab this mana down here, it's going to die to one of the ooze, almost guaranteed. My opponent gets a pretty high value opening play, and that is he's able to damage me and Holy Immolate both of my oozes, and that's pretty frustrating because basically he does 6 damage to me turn 1 and kills the ooze. But I mean, it's not horrible because they do make Shadow Creep. There's a bit of a weird bug here where the Shadow Creep didn't show up for a while. It looks like in the replay it's also not showing that yet, but the Shadow Creep, at least in-game, showed up a little bit later. I would have loved having the Spectral Blade against the Lion this turn, but sadly, I was not able to do that. But the Spectral Blade, see, this is what I'm talking about. I'm really liking having it over the Shadow Dancers right now because we get so much more early game control, and there's quite often things that we can hit and still get like 1 health out of, or if raiding structures get 2 health out of and keep the Spectral Blade, so pretty good. It also helps us trade with generals that have any type of attack buff like Voth and stuff more evenly if they try to hit us. Here comes the second Holy Immolation on turn 2, which does suck, but while Holy Immolation is a bit of a interesting thing, or not a bit of an interesting thing, but it's like a very high value card. The fact that he's had to use it 2 turns in a row has kept his tempo down a little bit, and we still kill the lion. So I definitely think that my opponent's choice to use a Holy Immolation there was extremely bad. Because, I mean, what did it do? He basically killed a Mystic with it, because he still lost the lion. Sure, he damaged the Spectral Blade, but that was not worth it. Also, being able to get a Tiger out of his hand in order to deal with the Root of the Nine Moons is pretty good. And we get a Windblade Adept, which is fine. It looks like our opponent, though he has slight card advantage over us, doesn't have great cards in hand to deal with what's going on. I'm wondering if he's putting a little too much emphasis on just simply killing my things right away and not building a board himself. But that's okay. We are now 2 cards behind in hand, though. Since I usually like to play the attrition game, this is not too good for us. So we'll be looking for the. We'll be trying to find our right of the undervaults as soon as possible. And we've been able to keep tempo on the board pretty well. Although this turn's a bit rough. So this turn, I'm just going to get ahead because, like I said, I'm trying not to pause to get stuff done on time. I was thinking of using the Demonic Lure, but I'd rather use that for an emergency situation. And since we can deal with what he has on board right now while getting a Spectral Revenant, while having Spectral Revenant in play, that's completely fine with me. I'm only going to take 2 damage from the slow, move the Mystic up. Now this positioning for me was also bad, because if he puts anything in the middle and then Holy Immolations, he wipes my board and hurts me. And sadly, that is exactly what's going to happen. I also noticed a weird thing. It looks like the Holy Immolation hit both my oozes, but only one ooze actually made creep. I'm going to have to go ahead and report that, because I thought maybe it was just a graphical glitch, but it looks like in the replay it's also showing that only one Shadow Creep was made. Now we have to start playing defensively, so I went ahead and threw Klaxon down in front. Normally I would play the Spectral Revenant, or not Spectral Revenant, I'm sorry, the Vorpal Reaver at this point, especially since our opponent's only at 15 health, but I figured in the event that he has anything with Rush in his hand, and since he has a 0 power, I don't want him to have like a Tiger into Afterblaze with a Bloodborne spell or something like that. I think he would have mana for that. Yeah, 8 mana he totally would. 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. So this is the turn where I decided I'm going to go ahead and just throw everything down. I'm obviously not going to attack with Klaxon because I want to provoke. And the Vorpal Reaver, I could have played it in another position. The reason why I played it down here was so with the diagonal, if I had played the Vorpal Reaver up by Klaxon, and he did Sunbloom, he would have hit both of them. But by splitting it up like this, he has to decide if he wants to Sunbloom Klaxon or Sunbloom Vorpal Reaver. He can't Sunbloom both of them, which is the main reason why I put Ooze in between the two. And we have our Right of the Undervault now. So as long as this turn he doesn't gain too much on the board that we have to deal with, which we have a Vorpal Reaver, so whatever, we're going to be able to come back to this pretty well. Our Master Zir is a bit of an issue. We want to kill that as soon as we can, for the sake of doing it, because we don't want him to go from a 4-7 to a 5-12. We'd rather just kill the 5-12, obviously, and then leave him as a 4-7. So right at the Undervault here, we're looking for Demonic Lure, basically, to pull the Zir closer to the Vorpal Reaver. And our chances of getting it are pretty good, because we haven't replaced yet. And there it is. That's just what we wanted. So go ahead, we pull it down. I put it where I did so that the Vorpal Reaver can move, attack, just kind of like in Dota or League of Legends, you know, move, attack. That gives you more control. Granted, it didn't matter this much because it was going to die anyways. It's just good practice. I always try to remind myself to move, attack with celerity creatures. Now, if he wants to engage minions, he has to walk into a lot of Shadow Creep area, and with the Sphere of Darkness, that's a way for us to finish off the Arclight Regalia, because we could like hit him. Granted, we can break it with the Wraithlings in this exact scenario, but what I meant is since the Shadow Creep does the damage at the end of turn, you can get Arclight Regalia down to 1 charge after doing damage to it, you know, and then you can drop with Sphere of Darkness under the Arclight. When you end your turn, it'll take the last tick of damage off that Arclight Regalia. Another card in this deck that doesn't really hit too much in Lionar is Breath of the Unborn, but I went ahead and used it this turn because it's just a clean way for me to deal with for me to deal with his minions while sacrificing as little as possible. And I really hope that I cast the Juggernaut. Oh, that's right, I can't. Sorry, the replay mana looked weird to me. Breath of the Unborn, there we go. I wonder why it's the mana's acting like that. Because for me, it just looked like I still had 8 mana, but then it went down to 3 randomly. That's why I didn't cast it. It makes sense now. So go ahead and we attack this Lionar to get him down as low as we can. And to make sure, obviously, that Regalia is broken. He's top decking anyway, so we're doing alright. And then just to get a little extra damage and some card draw, we drop that Creep. And we play the Crawler in the corner. Now, I was playing way too defensively here. I should have moved towards him. It was my first match of the day, so I was kind of, in the mentality of let's just play as safe as possible, because starting on a win always helps me, just because it's a good morale boost. So my first game's usually are usually a little more safe the way I play. But I definitely think I was overly safe on that last couple turns, or on the last turn there where I moved behind the Crawler. But regardless, that's how it goes. And though our opponent did make some weird tempo plays I don't agree with, granted I don't know what his hand was, there's a couple turns where I definitely wouldn't have, there was, at least the second time I used Holy Immolation, I would not have used it there. The third and the first time he did it, I think were fine. But other than that, I mean, he definitely played very well, which is one of the reasons why I was willing to cast this game, though it's in gold. The beginning of season, obviously I won't have any diamond games until I have a chance to get into diamond again. And with a full-time job, that sometimes takes a while, so we will have some gold level games for a bit, or at least gold league games. I hope you guys are enjoying the deck as much as I am, if you're trying it, or at least enjoying watching it. If you have any suggestions for other decks you'd like me to make in the future, let me know, and I'll see what I can do about it. But there we go. Yeah, Lionar, this deck has been pretty good against it. My win rate against Lionar with this deck, I think, is somewhere, it's over the 70%. It's definitely over the 70s, and that's in in-house skirmishes with teammates, playing against friends, and playing on ladder, all combined. It's going very well. I actually wonder if I should share the spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet I'm keeping for this deck, where I'm keeping track of its win percentages against not only the factions, but then the different archetypes in the factions, and it's quite good. So excellent. I'll see you guys tomorrow.